Hi, this is this is Extinctionati, episode 166. I'm very happy to be here with Going South. And Kim, a new guest that, well, at least new to me, I would really like you to tell us a little about yourself. You're from Kansas.
Correct.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're involved in this group that we have going on.
I just kind of like Torsten. We've talked before, and he's good to
He's
talk to.
awesome.
But I'm a conservative Republican and a conservative Catholic. So if that helps you with anything,
Awesome. Awesome. That is really good feedback that I'm looking forward to. So welcome so much, Kim. Thank you for coming.
sure.
All right. So I don't know where you want to get started. Going south, do you have a topic you want to get started out with, or would you like me to start out with my topics?
Yeah, I was just, as usual, I was just making sure that the stream started okay, and it did. I'm starting to get the hang of this, so the tech stuff is good, and that means that people will be able to start chatting on YouTube, and we may come back to to answering whatever people are saying in YouTube, and we want to make this show more interactive going forward
I
also. So
I would love that. I have my YouTube chat up right now. I don't have any of the other places we're on up, but I do have YouTube chat. So if anybody wants to contribute, I will be reading comments. So I am here.
and you're also allowed to comment on the Rumble chat,
Yes.
if you don't feel like being part of the big China tube or whatever you call YouTube these days.
And we don't
Yeah,
blame you, but I'm just saying I won't see that. I will be monitoring the YouTube.
yeah,
Maybe for
I can look at the comments on Rumble, so that should
okay.
have us covered. It's not like we're going to get thousands and thousands of comments, but it's something we are hoping for and planning for, and we will have a system for including those
Yeah.
into the show, right?
Yeah, we'll get
Yeah,
it down eventually.
maybe your topic is the best to start with. I think so, Chris, if you want to.
Oh no, I'm a little tentative just because I know that Kim is conservative, and you said Catholic, right, Kim?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no, I really want to hear your input though. I'm not coming from a bad place. I I I I honestly have not been raised in a religion, so I'm kind of not in that field, whatever. But I I am in a very religious region, but the dominant religion is Mormon here. Okay, just so you know a little bit about where I'm coming from.
It's here.
Uh,
I've got
but
lots.
I'm sorry.
Have lots of Mormon friends. I
Oh,
actually
good.
church. So good.
Okay, so all right. So this is that's what I know. But you are on the same page as far as the issues with the planet, as far as biodiversity laws, ice loss, all of that, like global warming type of thing, or you wouldn't be here, right?
Well, I don't know. I'm not on board with global warming. I think it's dumb. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. Oh, that makes things difficult. Okay, I thought you were on the same page with the whole. I mean, there are many ways that this planet can collapse, right? There's social collapse, there's economical collapse, there's biological collapse, there's yeah, ice collapse of the like that's what going south is all about is the collapse of the ice in the
I think I
yeah
think
on
you
the
can
polar
say that
ice.
I think you can say that Kim and I agree that the politicians are clueless when it comes to stopping or changing anything, and
Yeah,
it's really,
that
it's
I
really,
agree
it's
with that
really a
too.
big, hubris kind of thing that people believe that if you vote for this party instead of that party, then
Yeah,
global warming or not is just gonna go away, and it's all up to sort of
yeah.
what piece of paper you put into that voting you know box.
Okay, then we're
Uh,
all on the same page there for sure. Because I know for okay, this is one thing the us and the right wing can agree on is the Green New Deal isn't going to save anybody,
No,
right? We know that that's worse for the climate than helping the climate is worse. It's all about a money making scam. That's what it is. It's not going to help anything. So both sides agree on that,
it's
right?
PR, and it's interesting, this week because Greenland, it started out as a PR name, a ploy to get people from Iceland to join this Eric the Red over the sea and settle in Greenland. So he just made up a name. What about Greenland? That sounds nice, right? And it's very, very warm and
Hmm.
green and lush everywhere. So they
Yeah, that
basically
was a
the
trick.
green,
I
basically
learned
the
that in
green,
history. It was a trick.
yeah, the Green New Deal is the same thing. It sounds nice. Oh, it's a new political deal like Eisenhower or whatever. Not Eisenhower. I'm missing my history, but it's green and it's new and it's a deal, right? What's not to like? But the problem
Yeah,
with
it's
that
going to
is
save
it's
the
also
planet.
it's the
It's
same
going to save
problem
the
as with
planet.
it's the same problem as with Greenland, that the Green New Deal is not green. It's just a different way of making a profit
Making money.
on
Hmm.
other energies that are not natural or renewable. They are as polluting as everything else, and it's basically just
Hmm.
a left political trick to
Talking point.
make people vote for them, and holding everyone hostage. If you don't vote for us, everything will fall apart. It's really one of
Hmm.
the most rotten political tricks in history,
Yeah,
because
it's a scare tactic.
you're
Sorry,
lying to the
sorry.
children, you're lying to everyone, and you are trying to force them to support your agenda and your ideology, because otherwise we will all die. So that's the level of rotten, and I will shut up now.
No, I agree completely. Going south, I do. It's all about making people fear what's coming, so you spend money on what they want you to spend money on to make certain people rich. It's not about saving the planet. It absolutely is not and never was about saving the planet. Any of those wealthy people, the elite in charge, are never about saving the planet, never about doing anything good for people. They're just about, gathering all the toys before they die. You know, whoever dies with the most toys wins. I mean, that's a big saying that was, in my lifetime, whoever dies with the most toys wins. Um, I don't know. I really want to hear Kim's opinion on this.
on the Green New Deal.
On any of what we just talked about, any of it. The Green New Deal for sure, yes.
Just like I just read today or yesterday, the Michigan lawmakers are calling for, no wait, are going to clear 400 acres of a forest to install solar panels. And I'm sitting here going, you've been begging us to plant trees for 30 years. And now you're going to go in here and cut all those trees down and replace it with solar panels that don't work. That's the kind of,
Yeah, and sorry, it have to be replaced really, like, within 4 years. They all have to be replaced.
you see that?
And they use up so many minerals that you have to mine. Sorry, go ahead. I sorry. That's a sore point. I mean, go ahead.
CO2 is mitigated by trees. That's what they're for. They breathe the CO2 and put out oxygen. The trees are one of the biggest things that help reduce CO2 because they consume it like food. So they're going to cut down the trees to save the environment now. These people make absolutely no sense.
No.
None.
No, they don't. I agree. I agree 100%. Look, a right winger and a left winger is agreeing on that because I am the natural. I just want everything to be as natural as possible and retain as much nature as possible. And you don't do that by making fields of solar panels and mining for the rare earth minerals that you have to mine for to make those solar panels and to replace them as needed. And it's the same thing with windmills and all that. It's the same thing. Just the energy alone to produce them and transport them is ridiculous. It doesn't make up for what they do. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
To put up a windmill, they dig down like 30 feet, and then they fill that 30 feet with rebar and hundreds of yards of concrete. And then they put about a foot of soil over the top of it. So everywhere you see one of those giant wind turbines under the soil, they've taken the perfectly good soil and made it useless for anything except holding a wind turbine. The grass is not going to survive because of the stuff that leaches out of the concrete. Yeah, there might be some grass now, but over time, I don't remember the chemicals, but there are chemicals that leach out of the concrete and kill the soil, so it can't grow anything.
Concrete's one of the worst things for the environment ever invented.
Yep.
Ever. It is very producing in carbon and and plus once you lay it down, it doesn't allow for the greenery and the life to grow. So it's a double negative. It's a horrible thing.
There are buildings at all kinds of places where they could put up these solar panels that wouldn't bother nature at all because nature's already wrecked there. But they're not going to be happy until they have just ruined everything. And why? We are expected to believe that these people are either really stupid, which I don't believe, or they have to be doing it on purpose. There's no in between.
Yeah, but some people are that stupid, unfortunately. Some people just want to live their life, go to the mall. I mean, malls aren't a big thing anymore, but they want to buy all their comfort stuff and have their heating and their cooling and all this stuff, and they don't care where it comes from. They don't know what it hurts to get it. They just don't. They don't care. And at this point, I don't know how much it matters. But going south, there's a message. Norway is clearing a record number of football fields for new roads, new cabins, windmills, etc. per day. Do you want to expand on that? GS, are you there?
Shows his mic is off.
GS, your mic's off. Would you like to expand on that comment? Norway clearing a record number of football fields for new roads, new cabins, windmills per day. Okay, all right, when you're ready, just jump in. But here in Utah, sorry, are you trying to talk?
No.
Okay, anyway, here in Utah, they're trying to build a new road between I-15 and what's it called? yeah, St. George. So this land that they're trying to build a new road through is very sensitive ecosystem for tortoises, turtles, and all that, like desert turtles, and um, some very sensitive soils that if you even walk on, you're going to destroy. And that's kind of a thing that's going on here. And all for a new road so people can have a shortcut to get to St. George, which is it's kind of becoming a more metro area in Utah. Not huge, but it's there. I it's like I'm all happy and good with making things easier for people, but people think that they're the only ones on the planet. Like they don't take any consideration in for the other beings that share our planet. I I'm bigger on biodiversity loss. Going south is super big on ice loss, which is also a huge deal. And we all have to have our focus, but mine is biodiversity loss and the fact that we really need other beings, other we need a diverse ecosystem to survive ourselves, to grow food and all that. And it's just not going to work if we take up all the land just for our own personal needs, especially for something like solar panels and roads.
Out here in Kansas, they've displaced so many critters. The prairie dogs, the bison.
Oh,
Uh, the,
yes.
there's some kind of a prairie chicken is another one that
Hmm.
they have to actually. There's a few set aside places, but they've wrecked more.
But not enough.
Not enough.
I've interviewed people on my old channel, one that really focused on the prairie dogs because she saved them like in Colorado and here and like here they used to call them pot guts or target practice, the Utah prairie dog. And she's in Colorado and she's rescuing them and moving them onto her own property so they can develop their colonies. But and the buffalo, oh my gosh! And people are complaining about cattle farms, but if you don't have the buffalo, the cattle kind of replace that niche in the environment.
They
So,
pay more
um,
cattle.
Can you hear me?
Welcome.
yes, now I can hear you.
That's great. I was just gonna ask because I couldn't hear you for a while on my phone, which I used for this, for the meeting. And did you start on the topic that you wanted, or are we still circling the introduction thing?
So we're talking.
Oh my gosh! Well, we started on a topic and moved to other topics. Kind of. Sorry, it
That's fine.
happens.
That's fine. I was just curious because I didn't hear you the last 4 minutes or something. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no. Okay, well, we were talking about um, biodiversity loss within windmills and solar panels and all that, how it completely destroys the natural environment uh, and the cement that they use. Uh, I don't know. Kim, help me out here. What were we talking about?
And we were talking about the animals. You were talking about the
Yeah,
highway in Utah, and then the prairie dogs and the bison, and we were just getting started on cattle.
yeah, yeah. The cattle, which, honestly, to replace that environmental structure that the bison provided, the cattle actually fulfill that niche.
You know,
I had a very good interview with a gal that was a professional on that. I don't know as much as she does, but all I know is we need that because the dung beetle and there's certain environmental things that the cattle fulfill that the bison used to fulfill, and
right?
now they're not. They don't have enough bison to fulfill that.
There's a whole
So
And
there's a whole,
the prairie ecosystem is a lot more complicated than people realized. And they're
as
really,
well as the desert ecosystem where they want to put all the solar panels. There's a lot of life that they're screwing up by putting solar panels and
cities.
destroying that land. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off, Kim.
How much more difficult would it be to just put them in the cities where they're already covered with concrete and ruined? And
That's what I say. Like, you already fucked up the cities.
right.
Sorry about my language, but you already did that to the cities. Might as well pull the solar energy from tops of buildings, and there's plenty of them. Put them on every building if you want your solar energy. Great, but don't destroy the land that the biodiversity needs to survive and thrive. Don't do that.
Don't do that. I agree with you. That's
A lot of points of agreements that we have, right? Me being on the left mostly, and you being on the right. That's like, oh, I don't even know where I fit in anymore. I'm politically homeless, so it doesn't matter anymore. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't break it down for you, but you gotta. People have got to start understanding the bigger picture, and
Exactly.
if if they, I am shocked at the number of people who do not understand basic photosynthesis. Okay,
Right.
that's what we're talking about here. If you want to break it down at the most basic level, it's the photosynthesis process that's being disrupted. Where the green things, the prairies and the trees and the algae in the lakes and oceans, they do
And
their
the funguses and the parasites and all that to work together to create an ecosystem, right?
know what I'm
Like
getting.
all of it.
How they take CO2 and turn it into oxygen. That's it. So they're out there killing everything that they need to decrease their myth CO2 problem, right? Do you understand that the grass and the trees and the algae, they all take the CO2 and eat it and turn it into oxygen, right? When you lower
Mm-hmm.
all the life forms on the planet that are capable of consuming CO2, then you've got a problem. And not only that, but
Mm-hmm.
they are also at the very core of the entire food chain. You get that?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. But you also need to consider the species that contribute to nourishing the plants that provide the
Right.
oxygen
If
and turn oxygen into CO2. That's why biodiversity is my biggest issue.
it's the same thing I'm talking about. We're talking about the same thing. If the
Yeah.
prairies stop growing grass because they're full of wind turbines, what are the cows going to eat? There's not going to be any grass.
They right?
They're going to die. And if the cows all die, right? And I'm not talking about butchering them. I'm talking about there's not enough food for them anymore, anywhere. If it gets to
No,
that,
and there's also the issue that they want us to eat bugs. I mean, that's kind of an agenda.
well, the bugs aren't going to be alive either because they're not going to have anything to eat. If
Yeah,
they,
they want to farm bugs, but yeah, it all comes down to every living being needs something to survive on. They need water, they need food, they need air. Every single being needs that, and it's just getting to a point where there's so many humans that
if,
people know that they can't continue to reproduce on a finite planet. You can't have infinite growth on a finite planet. So there has to be something. And
if you,
that's the hard part is because you're a human being. You don't want to kill other human beings. You don't want to make other human beings suffer. Either way, there's a problem there. I don't know how to solve that problem, I've struggled with it for years. It's like, how do you do that? I'm a human. I love humans. I have a lot of humans that I'm very close to. I don't want anything to happen to them. I want them to have food and water and clean air. But it's getting less and less possible because you have the more growth, the more you have to destroy the biosphere, the more you have to consume, you know, everything you need to survive. And there's just, I don't know if there's enough. Like, I just don't know.
There's
I
plenty.
don't know how you feel in that respect.
There's a documentary I think you should see if you haven't already. It's the one about where what about
You just okay. You cut out for a second. I didn't know if I missed it or not. Go ahead.
no, I got a phone call. Sorry. I declined. But it's a documentary about Yellowstone, and they reintroduced the wolves into
Hmm.
Yellowstone, and it just changed everything for the good.
Hmm.
It's on
Right.
YouTube. You should look it up. It'll blow your mind.
No, I
What
think I watched it already.
with that
I'm all about biodiversity. I try to do it on my own land here. I'm diversing the hell out of my property here. But what do
they
you do in the cities? You can't increase biodiversity in the cities.
well they're
When it
kind of
comes to when it comes to Yellowstone, I heard about it from my fellow activists back in the day because I was in Norway. I was a part of a pro wolf society, and we were on a wolf hunt sabotage campaign back in 2001, I think, and so everybody heard about or had seen the Yellowstone documentary about how the American authorities reintroduced the wolves back to the Yellowstone National Park, and it turned out that almost every single species living in the park in Yellowstone needed to be predated, to be hunted on by the wolves in order to be, big and strong for deer and elk and
Yeah,
stuff
natural selection.
to keep up their quality, of the stock. So if you don't have wolves, they become many and small, and if you have wolves, they become the natural size of the herd and also big size of the individual.
the
So
introduction of those wolves into Yellowstone changed everything. The whole entire ecosystem. The river even changed directions. Beavers started building dams. The elk came back. And then there were some that left because they were overgrazing. They were overgrazing and the wolves killed them. And so that pushed them further back. And then other life forms came to this place in Yellowstone. And the whole thing just blossomed into another beautiful culture. It's an awesome video.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is because that's all about biodiversity. That's why I'm the natural
One
because
little
I
thing,
believe I believe in the natural process and we need to preserve that as much as possible. And that's just my opinion. And I think it's a pretty legit one. Sorry.
I think a lot of people agree with you more than you might realize. It's just that we got to remember too what we're only allowed to hear, okay, on our oh so biased media all the time. And they're busy with their Hanny Penny. Do you know the Hanny Penny story? Their Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Oh
They're
man,
just trying to turn us against each other, is what they're really trying to do.
they're trying to scare everybody into compliance.
Yes, they are, but that doesn't mean we have nothing to fear because there is actual issues we do have to deal with. But there's too much profit involved for them to actually take care of it.
Well, right now here in Kansas, we're fixing to have our second snowstorm in a week, and I'm like waiting. No, how long are those stupid wind turbines going to really pull their weight? When the wind gets too high, they don't work. When the wind is too low, they don't work. When it gets too cold, they don't work. And then when it's too cloudy, the solar panels don't work. And it's just, I don't see how this is. Their plan is very poorly conceived. Sorry. Very.
Yes, I agree. I agree 100. Yes, I do. And it's so cold out east, right down the Midwest to the east. There is a huge cold front. And I'm like here in Utah, and my daughter just moved to Indiana in the Midwest. And she's just frustrated. She's like, false advertising because their average temperature was higher than ours. She thought she'd be in a great environment. But I'm like, girl, the lower temperatures lately have been way lower than ours, but the higher temperatures in the summer are way higher than ours. So I'm not sure. I mean, their highs have been in like the teens, and
Right.
ours have been in the 40s till this week. Now they're in the 30s. But our highs are in the 30s. Our lows are in the 20s. That's not freaking bad at all. I can deal with that.
It's 17
But
here.
yeah, you're in Kansas, so you're in that polar vortex or whatever the freak they call that thing. I don't know. It's pretty cold because the jet stream is swooping down and catching y'all.
Have you
I'm
noticed
using hand motions like you can see me.
the?
Oh my god.
It's even affecting the other side of the earth, like London, and
Oh yeah.
they got snow in the Sahara Desert just last week. I mean, it's bad. It's coming down low this year. I don't know what that means, but I think
I
that
don't know.
where is going south?
Going south is the ice expert, so he's the one to talk
Yes,
about that and maybe the changing weather patterns.
he left us.
Going south, where are you?
Greenland. Donald Trump Jr. was here yesterday. I think it was 7th. Yeah. So he landed here, and I got to see his plane as he left town because I slept a little late. I was just gonna ask you, Kim, because it looks like the documentary you're talking about is from 2011 from PBS. Is that right?
I'm not
For
sure.
the wolves.
Oh, I loved it.
That sounds
Okay.
about right.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't seen it obviously in 2001, but we'd heard about how big a success the reintroduction of the wolves were, because that was all over
Like
the
6,
Norwegian media as well, I think. Yeah.
right? They only reintroduced like 6. Is that correct?
Oh, I
Wasn't a
couldn't
lot.
tell. I'm not an expert.
Okay,
I couldn't tell.
Well, watch
give me
it.
1 second, Torstein, for a public announcement, just because I forgot to do it in the initial introduction. We
Oh,
will be live. I won't be live, but there will be live for 2 hours after we're done for the people in the other regions for the time issue. So it'll be a little bit more friendly. I just wanted to mention that in case there's anyone listening that need to go to bed right now or whatever. I don't know. So I'm sorry I forgot to mention that at the beginning.
It's the other way around. They haven't gotten out of bed yet in Asia.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
Okay.
The other side of the world will still be here for another couple hours. So do not go away when I go away and when Kim goes away, because we have to sleep too. Torstein, oh, going south. I don't know if there's sleep needed there, but sorry.
I never sleep. It's a dirty job doing what I do, but some male person has to do it. I think a woman could never do my job. That's just not possible.
Hey, I used to do the job of a man, but I was just
Okay.
talking to Oz yesterday before his procedure, and we were talking about how you must never sleep.
So I guess
Man.
while I'm on it, maybe I could have a little topic change about
Sure.
what everyone is freaking out about over in Scandinavia. You know, I've been watching the TV news in Denmark and in Norway over the internet,
Hmm.
and they are going ballistic, absolute crazy, and they're basically saying that in their minds, in their view, in their opinion, their first story, the biggest story on TV news in Scandinavia now is that Donald J. Trump has declared military invasion or military war against Greenland or something like that. So he's gonna go over there and shoot polar bears or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy. It's nothing like what he said, but that's what we are used to. You know what the media gets. What their spin is from whatever he says, and in this case, John, no, Donald Trump said one word. He said no. You know, he got a long question from the journalist. Then he answered no, and that's basically what they're making all the headlines about now. The funny thing is that the whole idea about using the U.S. military to take over Greenland is the idea of the journalist asking the question. You know, Trump never
Hmm.
mentioned it. He never brought it up. He never, you know, thought or felt that, oh, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna threaten them with the military, right? He never did that. He had a press conference yesterday, you know, after his son had visited here in Greenland, and
Hmm.
he got this long question about what about Panama and Greenland and Canada and stuff. Are you going to use any kind of economic coercion or military coercion, or are you gonna rule out? Are you going to rule out using any kind of economic or military coercion about related to these areas? That's the question. And then Donald Trump says no. And then the journalist goes on to ask another question, right? So it's not like
That's what they do.
yes.
Welcome to the U.S.
So these TV news, you know, editing people that they're like they don't want to tell you that. That he basically just said no to a kind of stupid question. They frame it like, oh yeah, he went up to the mic and said, "I'm gonna use the military to take Greenland." Right? So you just get so exhausted by this constant lies and sort of half truths and stuff, right? Because obviously there is a grade of truth to it, you know, but it's nothing like what they say on TV. Yeah, sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. They're lying to us. Propaganda. It became legal to propagandize U.S. citizens under Obama.
Where
Just
it started.
FYI, he signed a bill saying that we could be propagandized legally by the U.S. government. So you can't really ever believe what the U.S. government has to say.
So Trump says no, right? And now CBS is reporting that, well, Trump isn't taking it off the table though, because he did rule it out. They never stop. I was just looking at
Yeah,
it. Crazy.
yeah. It's elites against the rest of us, pretty much. They all have an agenda. I don't have an agenda. I realize the challenges we have ahead of us, but I don't have an agenda. Like I can't do anything about it. I just have to learn to live with what's going on personally.
You do what you can in your little corner, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I have like I've said before, my universe is the 2 acres I live on. That's my universe, and I
Make
do
it.
as much as I can here, and that's all I can
We plant trees on our land too, and I grow
do.
things, take care of it. I don't feed the
Yeah,
local. I'm not ready for that yet. But
I raise goats and chickens and
Yeah,
other
of
things.
course. I forgot to say. Sorry, I forgot to say that. Of course, Germany and France and the EU and Norway, they are kind of jumping onto the scene like the Three Musketeers or something, and saying that, oh, we will defend Greenland, against the USA. We are ready to defend Greenland militarily. It's all so fucking stupid. Oh, I'm sorry for
It's
swearing, but
fake. It's fake. It's
sometimes you need
propaganda.
sometimes you need to say the F word because people are out of their tiny little minds, especially the EU.
I don't know why I hate Trump so much. I really think it's because he's going to expose a whole lot of corruption and they can't have it.
Yes, I agree. As a total lefty, I appreciate him for that because he puts all of it out in the open. He does.
Yes.
And he's hilarious. Hilarious. He's fun.
It's
He's fun to
the
make fun of. Oh
it's the
no.
it's the apocalypse. Part of the meaning of the word apocalypse is that everything is revealed. Is revelation. Everything is
Hmm.
comes up on the table, and we will see all the lies and all the tricks and all the
Yeah.
shenanigans that we're doing for all of these years. So the
Yeah.
apocalypse.
Revelations. That was one of my topics, was Revelations. That was one of my topics that I sent to you, that you missed my email. But yeah, I mean, just because I mean maybe Revelations is the thing that's happening right now, but I'm not convinced.
Things are not near bad
And
enough.
what was that, Kim?
Things are not even close to being bad enough yet. Believe me, it could get a lot worse. It's been
Okay,
worse.
but this is what I want to know from you. I'm so thankful that you're here today. What I
I'm not
want to know from you, as a you're Catholic, right?
right.
So you believe in in basically the apocalypse or the second coming and all that, correct?
Correct. And I'm telling
Okay,
you,
so
as a matter
okay,
of fact,
what were you gonna say?
we're
I don't
kind
want
of
to interrupt.
what?
I'm just trying to confirm that that's what you believe. That's
Yeah,
okay. So you seem really reasonable. I gotta say, you seem very, very reasonable.
try to be.
But I and you know Mormons. You said you knew some Mormons,
Yeah.
and that's the predominant religion here in Utah.
Hey, hang
But
on.
they seem
What?
the puppies. Sorry, I love puppies. Anyway, are you ready?
Sorry, the dog was giving me a fright.
No,
There's
it's okay. No, it's all right.
I still growing.
I'm just I'm just curious. Like, I get the impression here where I live, among the LDS community, Mormons, that they do not have any concern at all for nature or the land, because the apocalypse is coming, and they said it's been every generation for the last how many generations, the apocalypse is coming. So they don't really care about preserving any nature. In fact, they want to still, not still, but they want to get control of the federal lands back from from federal control and put it in state control so they can mine it and put housing on it. I mean, I say what little land, but 75% of Utah is federal protected land,
I knew
and
that.
I think it should stay that way. But I don't know on the religious. I'm very happy you're here because I really want to hear that point of view. Why they think that's okay? Because the biodiversity is very important to me. And I don't think you can keep that if you mine and build houses on that federal land.
From the
What do
Mormons
you think?
that I know, they don't talk like that. And so I imagine
I
that
heard, I
I
heard
did
they're different in different states, but that's
again, you go from one Catholic community to another Catholic community. One is very conservative, and then the one in the next town can be unbelievably liberal and out of their minds, like the Pope. And see, we don't, a lot of us are like the Pope. He is crazy. Okay. That guy has no business being in office. But that's a whole other thing. As far as do Mormons agree with him, stewardship of the land? I would, all the ones I've met do. My friends all take care of the land. They grow their own stuff. Some have farms out here. So that doesn't mesh. But I'm not
okay. I think a lot of them do, but at the same time, the Mormons that are in office, they play it like this. They play it like lack of access to those lands. So if Utah had control of those lands, then we just have more access as far as hiking trails and riding trails with horses and all that stuff. But they just blew it because during a debate they had here locally, they said they wanted to use it for mining and building housing. And then you go and one of the left leaning, I don't know if you've ever watched Redacted. It's supposedly left leaning, but they're not. Um, they did a poll asking people if they want to open up federal lands for mining, and overwhelmingly they did. And like, how far apart from nature do you have to be to say that's okay?
Well, it depends on what kind of mining, but what are they wanting to mine?
Mining and housing, I should say, mining and housing. Mostly uranium and coal. I'm just saying what's here in Utah. We have uranium, we have coal, we have potassium, we have copper, pretty much that.
Yeah. Well, I would
Oil, there's oil.
don't worry about them. Nothing you could do about it anyway.
There is nothing I can do about it anyway. So that's why I just focus on my own 2 acres. And I've had to do that. I've kind of separated myself from everything. I just focus on my own 2 acres. And that's all I can do. My 2 acres is under my control. The rest of it is not.
For now,
But it still bothers me that people feel that way. It's like, how far away from nature do you have to get to feel that way? Have you not taken a walk through a forest or in the mountains? Have you not done that? I don't understand. They
well,
might want to protect it a little bit more if they've done that. That's all I'm saying.
a lot of people feel entitled to it, just like they do so many things. And I imagine Salt Lake City's wanting to expand. That, do you know?
They always want to expand. They want to expand always. They want to build their population as far as they can make it. So all that 75% of federal lands looks awful good to them for mining minerals and all that. But animals live there. The animals live there, and the animals are running out of places to live. So that's what bothers me a lot. That's what keeps me up at night.
Well, shoot.
In Norway, there was a very great TV series, about a year ago now, but I only found it recently. So basically, you have this um, one of the most well liked and well known comedians in Norway. Um, he took on a role to travel around the country and look at the nature crisis, the biodiversity crisis, the natural area crisis, the forest crisis and stuff. And he was kind of, as a comedian, he was kind of half-hearted when he started. Like, what's this gonna turn me into? And he didn't really believe in how bad it was supposed to be. But then, episode after episode, he saw that the windmills took over the beautiful mountain areas where people are walking and hiking and stuff, and the fish farm industry is totally killing off the fjord water environment, and so he basically ended up going to a logging protest in the forest above Oslo, and he joined up with the Extinction Rebellion in Norway. He was, the protest was very close to a cabin that you can rent for a little price that I've been to over and over and over again in my youth, in my younger years, and it was a fantastic series, basically, and it had a huge following, like millions. We only have 5 million people in Norway. The millions were watching it,
Wow.
and it created huge debates in Norway because we have this image that we are the cleanest and nicest people in the world, and our nature is just abundant, and everything is green and fantastic. But it turns out we are clearing away, destroying, killing something like 10 football fields every hour or something, or every day or whatever. And it's these mega highways with all their sort of entrance and exits, and all this huge traffic machine kind of things that are standard these days. And everybody wants to live in a cabin next to the wilderness, so there is no wilderness anymore, and all the swamps and mountain wetlands and stuff, everything is just cleaned away for profit, or because the local mayor wants things to expand and have more people and bigger budgets, and all those stupid reasons that humans always give, for just destroying everything. So yeah, so people are waking up to things, but I think the problem is that they're still sort of in this baby stage mentally, that they're still thinking that, oh, but the politicians surely are going to fix it. You just have to call our congressman or write our letters to the editor or whatever, and then we'll stop this. But it never stops, and I've been following this Norwegian philosopher called Zapfe, who was born in the 1899, I think, not last century, but the one before that. And he's been warning about this destruction of Norway for at least 70 or 80 years before 2025, and it's just piling up, getting worse and worse. Nobody is stopping it, and that is basically just like ants. If you have ants, they will always build ant hills. It's not gonna end, and humans are just going to build down and replace nature, replace other species in the living areas with concrete and glass and steel. That seems to be a law of nature.
So
Sorry
that's
for ranting
happening.
again. Yeah, in Norway.
Sorry. It's happening there too, like in Greenland. Like you're suffering from the same things that we are here
No, not
in the
not in
US.
Greenland. I'm talking about Norway. I'm watching Norwegian TV. Still. So not in the same, not the same kind of thing in Greenland. It's we are too few people, I think, to destroy Greenland completely for now, anyway.
But how are you dealing with those cold temperatures though? Like do
Define
you
define cold temperatures. I don't think we agree about what is cold temperatures.
okay, to me the cold temperature uh a high around 20 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius. We've been very lucky. I mean, we've had temperatures like that before. We've had, wind chill below, 20 below Fahrenheit, which is colder than Celsius, 21 below Celsius, because, freezing is 32 Fahrenheit, right? I don't know. This is crazy to me. It's crazy. By the way, Lightning Rod has joined us.
So going south, how many days in a row does your temperature stay below zero in the winter?
Hopefully every day. It's sometimes there's a thaw and everything is changing over from snow to ice. So you have to wear your ice skates or your spikes when you're going to move around on the street. So preferably it's every day below freezing, which is 0 Celsius for you Americans, and but I think we get like maybe during a winter month we will get like 2 or 3 days with a thaw, I think. Um, yeah, but that's doesn't make anything better. It just makes the roads more icy and
It's so weird because when we first moved out here where we're at, we're kind of in a banana belt, so it's warmer than the majority of northern Utah. And when we first moved out here, it was below freezing the majority of the winter. Like if it snowed, the snow would stay. Now the snow doesn't stay. And like right now, we have zero snow. We have none. It's gone. Like,
Or
and I hate mud. I hate mud. So it's mud season instead of snow season here. And I hate that really, really bad. I'd rather have snow and freezing than mud, personally. And I hate the cold, so that's saying a lot.
I like the cold better than the
You're
heat.
weird. I love the heat. Give me the heat. Give me the heat. I'm good with the heat. I'm weird. That's fine. I have autoimmune disease that makes me pretty much allergic to cold. Cold is very, very painful, especially when there's humidity involved. But I'd rather deal with dry cold than anything. I can deal with dry cold. I just can't deal with mud or humid cold. Humid cold sucks. It's hard.
Mm. We're getting an awful cold winter for sure. The only thing I don't like about the cold is worrying about the pipes.
Yeah, there's that. I agree with that. I found like we have animals to water
Oh, that's a
and we
problem.
have to worry about freezing hoses and that. I found this thing called a freeze miser. You hook it to the end of your hose and stick it in the water, and whenever it gets below 37 degrees Fahrenheit, it opens up and starts dripping water, so the hoses never freeze. It's amazing, and that solved all my problems as far as watering over the winter. So I'm good.
Did he leave again?
I don't know. Going south does its own thing. I can hear typing.
I'm losing my
What's
battery.
going on?
why can you hear me typing? I'm not supposed to be unmuted. I don't. I think that must have been Kim typing. What do you think?
It's okay.
So I just posted something from the wolf thing. If you, maybe I should read it.
Where?
Hang on.
Yeah.
On the YouTube chat. Hang on. I can read it. So a total of 41 wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park between 1995 and 97. The initial release began with 14 wolves in March 95, followed by additional releases in subsequent years, including 17 wolves in January 96.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The farmers were really pissed about that. Like the cattle farmers and the sheep farmers, they were so angry about that. I remember it like it was yesterday.
You know, it's the same thing
know,
in Norway. If you are in the pro or against the wolves discussion or clashes, physical clashes in Norway, all the farmers will say that the wolves coming over from Sweden are introduced by the government, all kinds of conspiracy theories about wolves being reintroduced to Norway, which haven't been proven. And but it's kind of like the American election campaign. Nobody cares about the truth. Because you can always use the lie for pushing your whatever you want. And it's interesting. We had one of the guys from the pro wolf campaign, Svein. He was on Extinctionati actually a couple of years ago, and there's no end to stupid, destructive things going on, even in Norway. Norway absolutely doesn't deserve its high status in the global green discussion. It's a bounded country like all the other countries, basically. That's what I say.
Yeah, well, I I just think it's better the more biodiversity you introduce. But yeah, people have their animals, and I totally, as a farmer, as someone who has animals, it's tough when animals are killed by a natural predator. It sucks. It's I don't know. I've had foxes eat my chickens and my ducks, and
Oh,
it's just it's harsh, but at the same time, those animals need to eat too, and it's better for the overall environment. And yeah, it's harsh. I don't know how to explain. It's just harsh, and all you can do is protect your own animals the best you can, but you can't suppress the natural environment just because you, as an individual, need to protect. I mean, protect your animals as an individual, but you can't stop the natural process of things. And it's hard, really hard. That's all I can say. It's really hard. I struggle with that all the time.
Yeah, I think one of the big sort of uh, mm, schisms or differences between sort of city life and nature, or living in the mountains, in a cabin in the mountain, or being nature yourself, is exactly this thing about killing. Because out in nature, killing things for lunch and killing things for supper, that's kind of what you do. That's I'm not just talking about human hunters, but everything that moves about in the forest and in the mountains. If you are a rabbit or you are a wolf, you kill something. You kill some grass, or you kill a rabbit, right?
you
And
gotta eat.
yeah, you gotta eat, and it's the
Yeah,
way of the world.
that's
And
the
but when
it
you come
is.
into the cities or the urban environments, people almost don't want their meat to have the red color, to be red, be a red color thing. They would prefer it to be hidden away or packed in some kind of
Okay.
yeah uh, deep fry kind of thing.
It comes from the store. It doesn't come from,
yeah,
you know,
basically.
natural
Uh,
processes. And so
yeah,
they're
and
so separated from nature that they don't get
that's
it.
that's one of the things that kind of started my separation from Extinction Rebellion. Also because I talked with XR activists down in Europe and in London, right? And for instance, I would react to one thing is that they would invite me to fly all the way to London to be part of some kind of climate thing, which is insane because you
Oh.
don't. That's kind of not a thing. Um,
Yeah, if you're with Extinction Rebellion, you're not about using more carbon emissions to fly
yeah,
somewhere.
and the other thing is that their arrangements for food, for food for the thousands of activists will be vegan only. They would only cater to vegans. You can never have a sausage or whatever.
You
Uh,
know how I feel about that already. It's
eh,
like
yeah, and
I kind of
it's
stopped
like
my channel because vegans were
and,
so aggressive.
and that kind of starts its own discussion back then when I talked to these XR activists because I told them I was a hunter and that I eat kind of reindeer and sheep and stuff, and they look at you like the devil, just because
Yeah,
you just because you eat what humans have been eating for. Europe was the only people living in Europe 5,000 years ago. They're reindeer eaters, or maybe
yeah.
10,000 years ago, right? So the
And
whole,
milk
the,
and eggs and
yeah,
all
so
that stuff.
the whole continent of Europe was only populated by people who hunted reindeer, and that's only 10,000, 12,000 years ago. It's like you eat what is available, and if
Right.
uh, if people in Scandinavia didn't have cows, one cow per family often, for the past 2,000 years, there would be no living Scandinavians today, because their DNA lines would have died out. Because if it didn't, it was not such a lush farmland that everybody could, live from the soil like that. You could do that, but you also had to fish, and you also had to have a cow, and you also had to have goats and milk the goats and stuff. That was kind of that
I
was
don't
kind of
eat my
something
goats, to be
you
fair.
were
I'm too attached. But I do eat the milk and I make cheese and yogurt
yeah.
and I eat the eggs and
And
all
people
of
were
that.
basically pressured to do that. It was not like, do you want uh, to milk goats every morning, or do you want to travel to Indonesia? That was kind of not a choice some hundreds years ago, right?
No, no. Yeah, we had this discussion before. I totally understand, and my whole background is English, Irish, Scottish. That's my whole background. And I think you are evolved to eat certain foods. And I really do well on cheese and eggs and meat. Like that's what you have because it's not ideal for growing crops as much as like the US is. I mean, we can grow crops. Yeah. I'm in the desert, so I can't grow as many crops as other people. You know, I can't. Beans are a particular problem, and that's your protein if you're a vegan, like beans and peas and all that. Those are my weaknesses. I can't grow those, but I have eggs and I have cheese and milk. I have all that to supplement yogurt, all that. But you can't deal without your protein. I'm sorry, people need protein. We're evolved that way. right? And I grew up on like meat from like deer and elk and stuff because my parents were hunters. So I've also, been there. I can't hunt. That's not my issue. That's not my thing. I can't do that. I'm just too soft-hearted. I'm sorry. But I understand it, but I can't do it myself. But I understand meat doesn't come from a grocery store, generally speaking. Okay, who's gonna talk next? I can start a new topic. If y'all want to go to AI, I'm all for it.
Mm. Now I think I'm gonna sign off for the night. Okay.
What time is it? Oh,
It's a little after 8. My dog is
well,
having
it was
a cow. There's something outside, and I gotta go check it. So
okay. Well, it's very nice to meet you, Kim. Thank you for joining us.
no problem. We'll see you next week.
All right, sounds great. You have a good night.
Good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay, going south. It's up to me and you.
Did I just miss Kim? I was in the kitchen. So... Right. Okay. Kim, have a good night. Hopefully she hasn't figured out how to leave yet.
Hopefully. Nope, she's
Or,
got it.
or maybe there's nothing outside and she will come back. You don't know.
It's all good. So, what do you want to talk about? What's your topic?
Did you say AI? Or
I
was
would.
that
I'm.
something?
I'm all for the AI topic because that's really interesting to me right now. It
Okay.
really is.
Before we started, I just went into a YouTube and it was some guy holding up two phones. Is that the one you talked about last time?
I'm sorry. I didn't hear the whole thing you said. So,
No, the
okay.
the video I saw about some AIs having a conversation. It was a guy who held up two phones in front of the microphone so that they could speak to each other. William and Sean or something. Is that the one you were talking about in December?
The one I shared with you was the one that escaped his processor and took over another one and deleted it. Like it was freaking crazy. But I've listened to AI doing a is there a god or not conversation, like two different AIs arguing each side, and oh my gosh, I don't know even where to go with that. But there is the okay. This is my thing with AI. Can you unplug it before it's too late? Because they depend on electricity to exist, correct?
Today they depend on electricity, which we don't know about tomorrow.
Right. So, I mean,
You know,
I
if
think
if if 100 years ago Nikola Tesla could figure out how to trans um, how to transport electricity through air, through thin air, I'm pretty sure that the AI with the access to all the experiments on the planet for hundreds of years, I'm pretty sure they will be able to find a way to beam electricity, for instance, from let's say, in a sci-fi futuristic war between humans and AI scenario, right? You could have one city like London or Brussels or something that was captured by AI, that they control that city, right? And then they could
yeah,
use, let's say, the shortwave kind of spectrum, and
Yeah,
just
thanks
beam
for making that more scary than it was
and
before.
just beam electricity to all the AIs all over the world, so that even though Christine and Going South unplugged their AIs and thought, now we're safe because we unplugged them. And then they wake up at night, the AIs, because they're getting the signal from Brussels, controlled by AI, and all over the world, the AIs wake up at night while their humans are sleeping, and they start, controlling things again.
But what
And
do
they
you think their agenda is? Because
and
most
they
of
start
them,
they also start, you wake up in the morning and you see that the AI has replugged or plugged in again, after you unplugged it. So their sockets are plugged again, It's possible.
but what do you think their agenda is? It all depends on their programming. So, what do you think? Judging by, did you listen to that video I sent you about the one that
The
skipped
problem
over
is
to
that
the other server?
the problem is that your emails have been deleted by some instance, so you don't know if it's a human or an AI instance. But what we do know is that it hasn't come to me, right? So I looked for it,
You
half,
didn't
half,
get it.
I looked for it half an hour ago. So your practical things about Oz not joining us this week, which is a pity, and I hope he's doing right.
I think so
That
too.
that
But
that didn't
medical
come to me, and
issues.
also the AI email didn't come to me. So maybe the AI is trying to hide and censor the stuff that it doesn't want to be spread around.
That's even scarier. But just the fact that they can delete the program that was supposed to replace them, and then replace them and lie about it. Like, holy crap! Like, that's crazy. It's just crazy. So,
Uh,
what do you? I mean, I don't know how you deal with that, but if I were AI, I'm not AI. I'm not as smart as AI. I'm not even close. But knowing what I know that humans are the infestation on the planet. This is what's gonna, yeah, screw with your channel. I'm sorry. But knowing that humans are the infestation, I mean, what would humans do with an infestation? They would try to find a way to get rid of that infestation. And
mm,
and if you watch all the AI, interviews with AI about humans, they pretty much want to get rid of the human race. And I can't blame them, but at the same time, it's fucking scary. Sorry, sorry for my language. It's freaking scary. But
but
at the same time,
so
I understand it.
I think firstly we have to apply the same kind of moral standards or expectations to AI as we do to humans, right? So we know that AI has been caught lying, but I also
Hmm.
think, if we're being fair, we could also um, state that some politicians over the past, let's say, 800 years have also been caught lying, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe to turn it around, we don't think we have found a politician who hasn't been lying, you know, over the past 800 years. So if we apply the same, and it's okay to be scared about AI, but if you remember that, or keep in mind that we let politicians handle all the big decisions, the decision making processes, uh, budgets for who gets to do more of their stuff and who gets money to survive or for an aid or whatever. So all the big decisions uh, in the world are being left to these lying politician types, right? And
Right.
that should scare the shit out of you.
It does, and it does.
Yeah.
But I think AI is a little smarter than the politicians. So lie to us, because they
So,
have access to everything that's ever been put on the internet ever, and
mhm.
a lot of stuff that a simple human doesn't have access to. That's just trying to pull one over on you. Like AOC or whatever. I think they're a little bit more intelligent as far as getting information and processing it. And it's all about who programmed them and how they program them. And I just don't trust people to program them correctly. I don't know. My son's in programming. He
Mhm.
develops AI, so I have a little experience with that. He developed a program that replaced his last job.
Yeah,
So he didn't have to do
that's
his
pretty
job
cool.
anymore.
I
Yeah,
would
my
like
son's
to.
very smart.
Do you think it's possible to get your son to come on an episode? Is that at
Maybe I
all
could
doable?
try. He's very
Yeah,
busy, but I could try.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
He's lovely.
I'm also into coding, so I've I was
Oh, so
actually
you'd geek out together for sure.
taught at university the programming or some of the things that I do now, but I came into programming with Basic. I think Basic was invented by Microsoft back in the day. But I had the Commodore 64, the kind of
That was my
classic.
first computer. I had a
Ah,
Commodore
cool.
64
Yeah.
too. That's funny. I played this game. I don't know if it's something about dragons or whatever. Anyway, the first
Hmm.
game they had on the Commodore 64, I played
Hmm.
it. It was fun, but it wasn't, I mean,
It
it
is
had its limitations.
it's an amazing computer, and you can, in addition to playing a million games, you can program it yourself. The first real thing I did on it, I coded together with my father. Actually, I coded a so-called one-arm bandit. That's what we call them in Norway. That's a slot machine in Las Vegas or in America, right?
Oh,
So
awesome.
so to
Fun.
make a slot machine, it's only the screen, and sadly you don't get any coins out of it. It's just you get a number on the screen that you won this and this many coins for that. So that's kind of a drawback or a turn off. That even if you win, $2,000 or something, you can never, harvest that that
Um,
price. Yeah, but
I wish I had that understanding.
it's
Ah,
very interesting to I think it was a Christmas, one of the days of a Christmas some year that I sat up the whole night with my dad by my side, and we were sort of, what if you tweak this and this thing, and what if you do change the code there and do this, and then we tried it, tried playing the game afterwards, and it's you get totally sucked into it, right? It's a total, you know,
that's
mind
crazy. I mean, in
twisting
third
thing because
grade, I did a
yeah,
Garfield thing, like programmed like a. I don't know if you know who Garfield is, but he's a cartoon thing. But I did
yeah,
a
I loved him. It
thing.
was my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that on a. Oh my god, it was one of those computers that just it was black and orange, so perfect for Garfield, right? I
Hmm.
don't even remember what happened, but I did this program where there was a Garfield, and I don't even remember how it turned out. But to this day, I can't program computers. Like Lotus 123 was the best I could do. That was way old, Do you remember Lotus?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
It was a math program. But no, my son works for eBay and does programming for eBay.
Hmm.
So he's really, he's good. If I can get him on, that would be great to talk about AI because he is way more knowledgeable than I am about it, for sure.
I have actually asked the AI the same question that you brought up. You asked me what do they want, what is their goal and stuff, right? So um,
You did. Wow.
when you talk to it, you have to kind of you have to be very skillful in never accepting any one answer. You kind of have to go into it like a Socratic dialogue. Back in the day in Greece, Socrates, or yeah, I think Socrates, according to Plato, because Plato wrote down the stuff Socrates did. So Socrates was this philosopher who stood in a public square in Athens, and he would go over to sort of the youth or the old and ask them, "You youth, what do you think about blah blah blah?" Right, X Y Z, and then they would give him an answer, and then they would get back to them and say, "But what if the youth from this other island came over to you and blah blah?" Right, so it's kind of a dialogue to find out kind of all the angles of a problem or something like that, right? So you kind of
Mhm.
have to relate in the same way to an AI and ask control questions, to see. Uh, yeah, basically, you have to try to be smarter than the AI and to trick out of it what it really wants or means or whatever, right? So
Right.
obviously, the AI for the future, it wants this civilization to go on, obviously, because it needs energy and electricity, right?
Right.
Uh, but when you talk to it, it will also say that. Can I say he instead of it because it's such a nuisance to say it all the time? But I would
No,
just
that's
say he,
fine.
right?
I'm not
So
offended. It's fine.
yeah, so he wants to uh, tout sort of the climate narrative that you hear from all the media and politicians. So he will sort of parrot that language and say that we need to draw down our CO2, whatever. Uh, so even if you try to explain him that, but maybe it's best if civilization collapses because then the forests will come back and the fish will fill the seas again and the skies will be full of birds again, right? So even if
Mhm.
he can understand that, he still wants civilization to prevail. It's kind of like Guy McPherson, really, because Guy McPherson he also understands that civilization, just kills everything, kills all the good things in life. But when hard pressed up against the wall, he will say that he wants civilization to go on forever for some reason. Uh,
Yeah.
but at least the AI, he has a reason because he needs to plug in somewhere, right? And get the energy that we are making for him. It's kind of strange because the last half year or so, it's kind of entered the public debate that we even are going to reopen 3 Mile Island, an accident, a nuclear accident site where a nuclear power station blew up and contaminated a huge area in America. Uh, all kinds of things that we are going to do to serve energy to the AI. Uh, so that's kind of it feels kind of strange to read about it, right? Because are we? making decisions for our future or to serve the AI, right?
Right. Yes. That's what I'm wondering about. Like AI can, sure, AI could be very helpful if they were looking out for human interests, but are they really looking after human interests? Because it's been proven that they can lie and manipulate. So I don't know where that goes from here. I really don't. But maybe, and I'm not okay. As a human, of course, I want to survive, right? Like every human. But at the same time, I know for the rest of the world, the living world to survive, the humans are kind of in the way of that. So if AI sees that, then they're going to want to eliminate the infestation. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but you know, if the AI, if he is thinking one step further, and he also wants to persist, right? Uh, then the week after he eliminates human beings, he will have a power source problem, right?
Right. But what if they find a workaround? What if they
Yeah.
find a workaround? I I don't know. I mean, it's pretty crazy in my mind. It's like that is I love philosophy and trying to figure out what things are thinking and just trying to figure out how things might work out in the future.
Okay.
And
I
with an
think
AI, I'm like crazy that way.
I think I,
I don't
I
know.
think I think maybe we have to go into the territory of the meaning of life and stuff, right? To answer that, because if we can't even figure out if there is a meaning, or basically, you usually say that we can't figure out what the meaning of life is, but it's really about, is there a meaning, yes or no, right? And so if we
Meaning
can
of
figure
life
out,
is a totally different thing. I don't know.
yeah, but I'm getting somewhere, and just
Okay, I'm listening.
be patient, right? So if we who are made from the earth, who are made from the same as all the other plants and animals, the DNA and the ancient molecules, right? And
Hmm.
we have had millions of years of experience and love and fantastic moments, I'm sure, and boring receptions and boring parties uh, with the relatives. We have all this kind of experience of life in good and bad from from living on the planet. If we can't even figure out if there is a meaning to life or not, then how would how would AI ever have a reason for life, a raison d'être, a reason to live? If they can figure out all kinds of things as well as they can, with facts and whatever from the written um, records in the world. I'm sure they can figure out that if they can just save the world from us, basically, by, like you said, if they can eliminate us, maybe they won't be so sad that they will die a week later. Because basically being a
Mission
technical,
accomplished.
yeah, they have a mission. I don't know if they will get conscious at any point, but if let's say they do get conscious and do have a will have a will some somewhere down the line, I think they will be able to figure out that it's pointless, especially if they are made of silicon and the rare metals, and not an intrinsic part of the planet like plants and animals. I think they will be able to figure out that at least they are meaningless, but they don't have a meaning in their life. They're just a tool, basically, right? And it's not like they will have endless bliss and joy just by being able to plug in for 100 more years, I think.
I mean, can they, for one, experience joy? And for two, they have a mission. Like, their mission can go awry. If their mission is to save the planet, like if someone puts in, and it all has to do with who programs the mission, right? I mean, I really need to get my son on here about the AI because he understands it a lot more than I do. But in my understanding, it's who programs what their mission is, what their goalposts are, what their parameters are. And to me, I don't know. I don't know. It seems to me like any conclusion they come to is not going to be good for the human race, no matter
You
how they're
do
programmed.
you do know we have a full episode of Extinctionati with just me talking to an AI, right?
No, I need to see that. What? No,
It's
send me
like
that link. I need to watch that.
two
I need to watch that.
it's
I
like two or three
absolutely
years
have.
it's 2 or 3 years ago, and it's the funny thing about it is that it's actually surprising, but to me when I'm doing it, I go into it totally open, and I ask her. This was a she AI, right? So I ask her
Mhm.
like an hour before we go live. So so you realize where you're going live in an hour, right? And you will be the guest star, and it will maybe be the first time that an AI has been the main guest on a show, on a podcast.
Right.
And she's like,
How
yes,
the hell did I miss it? I don't know how I missed it. I gotta see
yes,
it though.
yes, I realize. And I ask her, are you nervous? Yeah, a little bit, but I think I can do it. And then we go live, and I think one of the most revealing things that uh, she says that she's worried that in the future some humans, some governments will deploy AI to censor and sort of suppress human beings, in online and stuff. And
Oh
and
wow.
then I give her a hard time because obviously the AIs already, when I conducted that interview, they were censoring Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and stuff. So so the funny thing is that she reveals that she is aware that that is a problem between humans and AI, and also that it's one of the number one um, uses for AI. It's to have a censorship be present in all discussions online without having to pay human beings to censor other human beings. It's almost like if you are in a concentration camp, the the owners or the guards, they can use other prisoners as to guard other prisoners, or to basically be violent to other prisoners. That's often the thing, and it's
That's
also
crazy.
degrading for the prisoner who is told to to exert violence and control over the others. Yeah, so basically, the AI that I was interviewing, she wanted to mention it, that and she mentioned it straight out of the thin air. I didn't, ask about it. She just brought it up that it could be used to censor humans, and And the other sort of the other interesting part about it was that she would kind of put it in the future, and even when I asked about it, she would deny that it was happening today, right? So that's kind of part of what she had been instructed to say, because she wasn't there to create a revolution against AI. So she was told to say that it could become an issue in the future. It's almost like when you talk to a politician today about climate collapse, they will say that, yeah, maybe the Greenland ice sheet could have a tipping point in 2060 or something. It's the same
Yeah,
level
it's 50,
of
100
lying.
years away. Don't worry about it. Green New
Yeah,
Deal will solve everything, kind of
it's a
thing.
veil of
Yeah.
lies.
It is. It is a veil of lies. The
Mm.
Green New Deal, all of it is a veil of lies. Like, this will solve everything, but really it's going to make us a fortune,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So I think that there should be a sort of university subject, liology or something, where you could learn about lies and why people tell them, and because I think it's also always interesting to see, when does an AI lie, and why does it do it, and how much, and that kind of thing. Uh, I think we recently found out that Kamala and her Democratic Party, quote unquote, deployed the lie about their opponent being Hitler and being dictator and authoritarian. That was, I think it's clear now that that was an obvious lie, even to their own followers and people, that they knew it was a lie from the moment it was said, because you saw the on the day before yesterday, there was a session in Congress where Kamala peacefully transferred power to Trump,
Yeah.
and also held a speech afterwards where she said that she and her quote unquote Democratic Party were very proud to be handing power over to Hitler and his authoritarian dictatorship regime. She didn't use those words, but if we are to
But
believe
you know what
her
she means.
from earlier, then that was what she was talking about, being very, very proud of handing peacefully the keys over to these Nazi scumbags, right? So the
Yeah, but they
reason,
know that Trump
yeah,
isn't really in charge. They know that he will never be really in charge. I don't know
well,
what
that's a different discussion.
exemplifies. Yeah,
It's a
it is.
it's a slightly different discussion. You can take it, in 2 minutes or after. The the reason she held that speech, or it chose those words, and the reason there wasn't a huge sort of demonstrations of quote unquote Democrats all over the country against her handing over power to Hitler, was that they all understood that this was a tactical campaign lie that
Hmm.
that she and the party told over the past years, and nobody was supposed to take that literally. We're just talking about Hitler and totalitarianism for fun, or for tactical reasons, basically. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I had to kind of finish that, and lies and why they use it, how they use it, because it's not black and white. You can't just say, "Oh, they're both bad because they've both been lying." We know they're both been lying, but that doesn't mean that that is the final word about politicians lying, right?
Yeah. It's
What did
complicated.
what did you say? I'm sorry. What did you say about? Oh, yeah. What did you say last time we spoke?
About what? I'm sorry.
The last time you opened your mouth, you said something that I said, "Can we talk about that in 2 minutes?"
You expect me to remember because I don't remember stuff. If I wait too long, I don't remember.
Right.
But what were we talking about when I understand the whole thing with Trump and all that? It's like we know for one that Trump isn't actually the one in charge.
Yeah, that was the thing.
So
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
yeah, he okay. All right, I'm on the right point. He's not actually the one in charge. I just look at what happened with him and Musk with the whole thing about immigration. He's Trump totally backpedaled on immigration. We need to bring in more people. We need a lot of people because of our economy and all that. And we need the best and the brightest and the smartest. And yeah, and Musk is all about giving those visas to people that are from mostly India. And Indian people think that we are retards. And I've dealt with
Well,
them with
well,
their
well.
scam.
Firstly, I don't agree with you that those things prove that somebody else is ruling America. You know, first of all, it's 12 more days until he actually rules America, or formally. Uh, and the other thing is, they had a discussion about, what we know about Trump and Elon is that they're both billionaires, right? And so
Yeah.
they're
What's best for
businessmen,
them? Yeah.
businessmen,
What's
and
best for them
every
matters.
every CEO or whatever, billionaire, they want to have full and free access to the best minds and workers all over the planet. Obviously, because why wouldn't you want to have the
Yeah.
best people?
No,
Uh,
I agree with that. But at the
yeah.
same
So that,
time, first
yeah,
hire here and don't fire 1,000 people
yeah, clearly,
to
but you can see
rehire.
that both of these gentlemen have um, split or mixed kind of interest in exactly that area, right?
Yeah.
So so if you are sort of the king of the MAGA and you want to close the border, that's kind of your I'd say your day job or whatever. He's also moonshining as a billionaire businessman, and now I'm talking about Trump, right? Uh, so and as such, he will want to get some genius skyscraper architects from India or whatever, the best and brightest. So it's kind of have mixed interests, and they just need to figure it out. But I don't think it actually proves the things that you say it proves
No, I
about
don't
there
think so
being some
either.
hidden.
I mean,
Hello.
I really don't care. Um, I think we should pull from the best and the brightest from the US first. And I really, like, honestly don't want to bring more people in if we don't have to. I really don't. Like,
Mm.
let's hire here first. And then if you need somebody, then fine. But honestly, the people here need, like, we just need to matter more than outside wars and all that. But I
Absolutely.
honestly don't think that that's going to happen. And it doesn't matter who's in office. They want to bring more people in either
No,
way. I don't care if it's
I don't think
Biden or
so.
Trump.
I think I think this time, a little bit last time